Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the City of Franklin Municipal Planning Commission meeting for September. The year has gone by so fast. We'll start with minutes from our August meeting. Do I have a motion?
Move for approval.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Moved by Scott, seconded by Michael. Any comments? All right, seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. All right, ladies and gentlemen in the audience, if there's items that are not on tonight's agenda and you want to speak to the commission about, please come forward. If not, we'll move on to our next agenda item. All right, I see none, then we'll move on to announcements. Staff?
Yes, I have a few announcements tonight. So I'd like to let you all know that the Planning and Sustainability Department now has an assistant director, and it's our own Jim Svoboda. He's on the first row here. Stand up, Jim.
All right, Jim.
All right, congratulations.
I'd like to congratulate him. We're all very excited, and I know Jim's excited to jump into the position. I also emailed all of you either yesterday or today about some different training options. As you know, state law requires that you get in 4 hours of educational training every year. So just read through those different options. There's an in-person training with the Middle Tennessee section of the American Planning Association here in Tennessee, and that'll be held at Eastern Flank on November 3rd. And then there's also an online option through MTAS if you would prefer to do it at your own convenience. And then also in the email, I did mention that we will be planning some type of session or retreat, probably for a half day in the first quarter of 2018 to talk about various topics that have come up throughout the year or even the year before that you think really need some further attention. So if you have any specific topics you'd like to include on the agenda, feel free to let myself or Mike Hathaway know. And then I'd like to turn it over to Andrew to tell you a little bit about something coming up in October.
October, as it turns out, is National Community Planning Month. So in honor of this, we have a couple things we'd like to do. We're gonna start off with a mayoral proclamation at the October BOMA meeting, recognizing this. We're also going to do some throwback Thursday pictures on social media of old Franklin photos, and we'll highlight the main street and show some before and after from like the same vantage point. We're also going to do some sidewalk chalk drawings in downtown Franklin, and no campaign would be complete without videos. So we're going to do some videos. Each week we're going to highlight a different function of the department and do short 1 to 2 minute videos. We'd also like to extend the invitation to all of you, to the Planning Commission. If you all would like to be featured in a video, please let me know afterwards, or I can follow up with an email.
If you don't volunteer, you may be asked.
Yeah. We may volunteer for you.
Marcia's got one she's been wanting to submit for the whole year, so that's coming first. All right, thank you guys. All right, we have items that, well, I'm sorry, let's go for items that are not on tonight's agenda. If anybody here would like for the commission to consider an item that's not on tonight's agenda, please come forward. All right, I see none, then we'll discuss our consent agenda. These are items that are considered non-controversial that we'll vote all together at one time. So I'll ask anyone from the audience, staff, or commission if they want to pull an item from tonight's consent agenda. Right now, the consent agenda includes items 2, 3, 4, 6, 8, 9, and 10, as well as 7. I know that 3 has been requested to be pulled, and we'll do that. Anyone else? Okay, so the initial vote is going to be on what we're calling the initial consent, item 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, and 10. Can I get a motion as well as taking 3 off?
Move for approval. Second.
Okay. Any discussion on any of that consent agenda, initial consent agenda item? All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Then we'll move to the secondary consent number 7, and Lisa, you're recusing, okay. Lisa will be recusing herself from that vote. Do I have a motion?
Move for approval. Second.
Okay, moved and seconded. Any discussion? All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. All right, then we'll move on to item number 3, which is Longview subdivision, final plat, section 1, release the performance agreements for access drainage, streets, sidewalks, traffic signal, and traffic signal warrant study improvements. Staff? Or Vernon?
Yeah, I was just going to say, I asked to have this taken off the consent agenda just for information.
Okay.
Thank you, Chairman, Commissioners. The Longview Business Park was originally approved approximately 10 years ago. And since that time, the owner has sold off almost all of the parcels. And as you can see, there have been several that have been built upon in different areas. As staff looked at how it's been developing over the last 10 years, at that time, we instituted some of the green infrastructure that was part of the city's MS4 permit. What we've learned since that time is that some of those practices of green infrastructure aren't performing as well as they should be. And given the state of that business park, we've worked with the developer. There's a couple developers there and holding the surety, and they've agreed to give us the value of that surety so we can go in as the remainder of the park develops and at our own speed improve some of that green infrastructure while we complete the sidewalk, streets, and drainage. So this is a little bit unconventional, but in hindsight, we've seen, since we've had about 10 years experience with green infrastructure, that we're doing things a little bit differently, and the reason why we've made arrangements with the developer to take the value of the surety in cash.
All right. Well, let's have a motion first, Roger, before we, okay.
I'll second.
Okay, move to second. Okay, Roger.
Will this involve in-house additional design to modify portions of that development?
Yeah, the city will work a combination of doing the remaining of those improvements and enhancements, both in-house and with a contractor, as it develops and as needed, because it is developing slowly, unlike a residential or other type of non-residential development, that we do want to provide connectivity to and walkability as best as we can. Thank you.
All right, any other questions? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Excuse me, item number 5, resolution 2017-69, to be entitled a resolution approving a revised development plan for Galleria Commercial Complex PUD subdivision, revision 2 with 1 modification of standard, parking reduction for the property located south of Moores Lane and east of Gallery Boulevard. Staff?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The applicant is requesting a development plan revision to ask for a modification of standards in the off-street parking amount. The applicant is proposing to enclose a play place and include seating within. The applicant has requested 1 modification of standard. The applicant is requesting to lower the off-street parking standard in commercial uses of 0.67 spaces per seat to 0.53 per seat as per section 5.9.4, table 5-9. The applicant has provided a traffic study prepared by a consultant. Staff supports the requested modification of standard because the traffic study showed that peak parking demand would be lower than the current available parking spaces. As stated in the traffic study, based on the analysis of the proposed McDonald's remodel site plan and our data collection to the existing site, the project is expected to have a positive impact on the traffic flow and circulation of the study area. Staff recommends approval of the modification of standards and recommends favorably to the board.
All right, thank you. Anyone in the audience other than the applicant want to speak to this item? Or is there someone representing the applicant? You'll come forward and state your name and who you're with.
I'm Ken Crowder. I'm with Martin Engineering, Spring Hill, Tennessee. I'm here on behalf of McDonald's to get this development plan approved and to get a modification of standard to the parking. when McDonald's first started to redevelop this site, the site had 100 seats in the interior of the store, and the parking ratio was 0.52. To get the site plan approved, McDonald's removed seats down to 62 seats, and they added the dual drive-through at the rear, which took the parking count down to 42. So with 62 seats and 42, it got it to the 0.67 ratio requirement that's required by the city. Now that they want to add the play place, they want to add an additional 16 seats in the playland and some seats in the dining area, which will bring the seating and parking ratio back down to 5.3, which is right at where it was before they started. So that's kind of where it was, and they had already gone through one time trying to get a variance to the parking, and we didn't have the burden of proof to get it approved. So that's why they've decided to do a development plan. So that's kind of where we are today. So if you have any questions, I can answer them, and thank you for your time.
Thank you. All right, do I have a motion?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Scott motioned and Alma seconded. Any questions? I guess we'll start with the modification of standard. Let's have an amendment to the main motion relative to the modification standard for the parking reduction.
I'd like to amend my main motion to approve the modification standards.
Okay,
And I'll second.
all right. Moved and seconded. Any other discussion? All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Do we need to be back to the main motion if he modified his main motion? Okay, awesome. All right, then, thank you.
Thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
All right, item number 11, Nature's Landing subdivision preliminary plat, revision 1, creating 32 detached residential lots and 4 open space lots on 34.1 acres, located east of Lewisburg Pike and south of Mac-Hatcher Parkway. Staff?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The applicant is proposing the addition of 1.6 acres of land to the previously approved Nature's Landing development and the addition of 3 detached residential lots. The proposed lots are compatible with the previously approved lots, the zoning ordinance, and Envision Franklin, and staff recommends approval with conditions.
All right, anyone in the audience other than the applicant want to speak to this item? Okay, is there someone representing the applicant?
Good evening, Sean DeCosta with Civil Site Design Group. We're in agreement with all staff comments. Happy to answer any questions you have.
All right, thank you. Do I have a motion?
Move for approval.
Moved and seconded. Scott moved. What's your name again? Jimmy? Jimmy seconded. All right, any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Thank
Thank you. Item number 12, consideration ordinance 2017-49, to be entitled an ordinance to amend Chapter 3 of the zoning ordinance of the City of Franklin to add clinic as a permitted use in the light industrial zone.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We discussed this at the joint conceptual workshop last month. This is the resolution needed to add clinic to the permitted uses under the light industrial zone. It complies with Envision Franklin, and staff recommends the item favorably to the Board of Mayor and Aldermen.
Okay, thank you. Anyone in the audience other than the applicant want to speak to this? I guess the applicant is the City of Franklin, is that correct?
It is.
So would everybody from the City of Franklin please come forward? Not really. All right, is there a motion?
Move for approval.
Second.
Okay, moved and seconded. Did you get all those? Okay. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Do we have any other agenda items that you know of? Okay. Is there a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
Seconded? All in favor? Aye. We are adjourned. Thank you.